Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Midweek Show with Kayla. I am your host, Michaela. We've just had the Creative Wake Up Show by Ray Coates. It was absolutely amazing. I'm joined here with Bradders, and we're going to have a bit of a mother's meeting, a bit of a chat about music and some other stuff. So, hi, Bradders.
Hello, how are you doing? Hi Kayla, how you doing? So I've been put on the spot, right? So I'm gonna act like I'm one of Michaela's girlfriends, and we're gonna be having a mother's meeting today, and I, I'm going to base this on when I'm sitting in places and overhear conversations with women, and I've not prepared myself. I'm just going to go on memory, and do you prefer Kayla or Michaela?
Kayla. Yeah, I
Kayla.
hate being
Yeah.
called Michaela.
Okay. Right. So Kayla, we're going to talk about music and that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
If you're a singer on TikTok and that sort of thing, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Now,
yeah.
this is not a typical question anyway, but I want just your thoughts on it. Do you have an opinion or opinions? And if so, what do you have an opinion on or opinions on? Generally speaking, about anything, just about anything.
Do you know what I have opinions on? Like social services. I have an opinion on,
What's your
because
opinion on social services? Let's go there then, 'cause I know a little bit about
I,
social
I
services.
think I think social services, some of them I'd say are corrupt. They will take children for no reason, for the smallest things. Um, I've seen many videos online of how they act towards children, and you see children who are petrified that they don't want to leave the parents, and then it's not nice to see.
Mm.
So I would like your opinion on that as well, because I know you deal with a lot of things to do with law
Oh,
and
family, yeah.
family courts
The,
and stuff.
I don't agree with you, if I'm honest. I believe there's a lot of incompetency on a massive scale in social services. And I think because overworked, also not qualified enough, misguided. And when they make mistakes, they commit to carrying on with those mistakes. They hate changing their reports and their systems. And they overcommit themselves. So when they come to their position on what they think is going on and what they ought to do, because it's not just one officer, it's multiple officers, especially when it comes to taking children. The
Yeah.
I believe that they overcommit themselves from their first position and won't own up to mistakes because it will save them embarrassment. They will go the whole hog. They really will, um, even though they know they made a mistake. Very seldom, unless a
Hmm.
judge interferes with their opinions and says, actually, hang on a minute, this doesn't seem right to me. They
Yeah.
would just carry on. They would just carry on. And they've got a lot of clout. I don't believe they like kidnapping children, as you hear on the internet. I don't believe that. Um, I do believe that the they're in a very difficult situation. I find it crazy with social services how they can go to some people's houses, which I've witnessed, right? That are so despicable houses, and they choose to say, okay, well, let's work with this parent, and we'll try and guide them, we'll get them cleaners in, and all that sort of thing, right? They go
Hmm.
through all those sort of processes, and the parents really don't care, right? Those,
Yeah.
and in those instances, I think after you trying your best with social services trying their best for you, what options do they have? They don't have any in the end. But
Yeah.
good homes as well. I've been aware of cases. I've actually spoken to people. At good homes, a lot of family unit as well. There's a lot of parents have issues with drugs and alcohol and the people they're associated with and their partners and domestic violence and police always turning up the house and
Hmm.
ASBOs and being a nuisance. So that was quite a long opinion there, wasn't it? But
Yeah. We
the
have
yeah, go on.
well,
Sorry.
we have a couple who live near me, and they were involved with social services, and they had the child given back to them on the rules that they would not be abusive or anything, but they still continue to be like that. And
Yeah.
it's like you're not getting it. You're gonna get your child took away from you again because you're just not listening. And it's every single day
No,
that it's happening. It's not fair on the child.
no, it's not. And the other thing as well, because this is what I find quite interesting sometimes as well, is social services automatically say, "Oh, I need to do a care plan for you. Can you sign up to these agreements?" Which essentially is a contract. And some of these contracts effectively are setting you up to fail. They
Yeah.
really are. So if you don't comply with what they're asking for, they may start proceedings. And in all honesty, it's not it's not as if suddenly they can, unless there's an emergency situation, they're not literally going to be taking your kids off you. There's not hardly any places to put children nowadays. There really isn't.
Yeah.
The so But also I don't agree with these care plans all the time. Sometimes I say to people, no, tell me you're not doing it. Tell me you're not doing it. You're not signing up to it.
Yeah.
We're listening to your guidance, that sort of thing. And that's it. And thank you very much. And come in and check on us when you want, basically. What a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people do though, and they make a big mistake, is they start arguing and show their true colors, and then you're kind of stuffed. Um,
Yeah. That's the only
because
thing.
they will do their research. They will look into the family unit, people you associate with, your parents if you're known to them, and that sort of stuff. They got data on, even though they shouldn't hold it, all the data that they do hold, because it's against the Data Protection Act. They shouldn't be holding all this information, but they do. They say they may
Yeah.
need it in the future, but it's illegal. So but they do. And anything can be used against you. A dirty house, a dirty front garden. I know it sounds pathetic, but they will get an opinion. It's a bit like going on a date. You get
Mm-hmm.
your first impressions within the first 10, 15 seconds, don't you?
Yeah.
If you're there
You do.
sitting there puffing away with cigarettes and that sort of stuff while you're talking to social services, for example, and you've got your kids roaming around at your knees, breathing in all that toxic air, it gives an impression. If your kids are dirty, it gives an impression. If your bins are
Yeah.
overflowing with alcohol bottles, it gives an impression. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so the I think social services do have a lot to answer for. I do because I've seen social services and CAFCAS lie in court, literally lie. The But it's about how you deal with it, though. How you
Yeah.
do it. But so it's interesting that you mentioned social services off the bat. Is there something going on at the moment that concerns you about social services? Because we've not prepared for this whatsoever. And so you got an opinion on social services, and
I think
there's many families or mums or dads that you may know have social services involved in their life.
um I had a situation which I spoke to you about privately,
Mm,
and they obviously had to come out, but everything was completely fine. They
mm,
had no issues. But you see videos on TikTok of all the like, because my algorithm must be something to do with that, because I do a lot of like research on stuff like that.
yeah.
And it's not the fact that they're taking the child because they have to do what is right, to make the child feel safe. But they don't help when the child's under stress, and they don't comfort the child, and they don't reassure the child. That's what bothers me with them. They're quite stern with the child, and that child doesn't know what's going on,
Mm.
and they're not explaining it to the child.
And they ask the child loaded questions as well, which the child may not even understand or even relate to.
Yeah,
And because of that sort of like adult sort of influence, they may just say what they think the person or the adult wants to hear.
yeah, exactly.
So that's what I'll tell you about just a case that just come to my mind actually. This was quite well, over a decade ago. And this is where social services and CAFCAS can get things so wrong. So this grandmother, she contacted me, and her daughter was a drug addict. She sadly passed away now. The very
Mm.
young as well. She was under 40. I think if my calculations are right. And she wanted social services took her first child, and then social services wanted to take the second child, but she was trying to do some early intervention with her mum, so that's grandma of the baby.
Hmm.
So whilst she was during in pregnancy, she was saying that I know I'm not going to be able to cope with the child. However, my mum's agreed to take the child. I think her mum was about late 50s, very capable mum.
Yeah.
Um, and social services were having none of it. They said, nope, she can't have the child. The other one was already in adopted by this point because they
Yeah.
grandma and daughter never really spoke that much. Um, but anyway, so social services now we're going to have care proceedings. We don't trust your mum. She doesn't. She on a record didn't doesn't in her entire life
Hmm.
didn't even have a parking ticket. All right.
I'll tell you
The
something about that in a minute
Yeah, okay.
regarding that.
Remember that one. No? The so social services are having none of it, and you got a thing called grandparents' rights as well. The
Hmm.
which is not used enough in the family courts, if I'm honest. But yeah, so they started putting proceedings in the court, and so we added the grandmother to the proceedings, and social services ultimately lost, but they fought tooth and nail. You'd think this was the end of the world for them.
Yeah.
Anyway, that kid's now I think 11, I think so. I think yeah, about
Hmm.
11, and has a lovely life with his grandma. But to social services, no, again, it's where they just state their position and they ain't budging. And their argument
Yeah.
was, grandma is going to allow you to, be around the child when you're a drug addict and you associate yourself with wrong people. They live so far apart from one another. You
That's
know,
crazy.
she was like, I don't know, 200 miles apart. So
Wow.
it wouldn't even be practical or feasible. So yeah, finally the courts said, okay, what we'll do in the end, this was the court's compromise. Let's give it a try and
Hmm.
let's monitor it and see how grandma gets on. They were saying that oh, she's not fit enough. What happens when the baby wants to start running around and or runs into the road? I mean, they literally were desperate, absolutely desperate. The
Yeah.
and the judge basically said, okay, well, what I'm going to do, and the judge made the right decision here. We're going to put a plan in place, and let's just review it. And they did fortnightly visits. Often didn't turn up. Um,
Hmm.
and with a view of the court being it got relisted for 6 months' time. And
That's crazy.
yeah, and basically the judge said, "How's things going?" And social services said, "This is how lame they are. Oh, it appears to be just about okay."
Yeah.
The baby had everything it wanted and needed, absolutely everything
Yeah.
it needed.
It's like it's like they're not happy no matter what. You have to be a perfect parent with when it comes to social services. And I think, your house doesn't have to be spotless. You can have a day where you don't want, if you think, the washing up needs doing, you
Mm.
can. You can leave that for a few hours. You don't have to do everything all at once, especially if you're a single parent. You're not going to get everything done in
Well,
in one day,
one wonders what their house looks like.
Yeah. But going back to the whole grandparents thing,
Mm.
my mum had a situation. I'm going back now. I was about, I'm 35 now. I was about 13 when this happened. My nephew, he got put into my mum's care, which was his grandparents. They had to go to court with the other grandparents to kind of fight for custody because something happened years back that led to my nephew getting took off his mum. So he ended up going with grandparents, and my mum brought him up from being young. He's now back with his mum. He's now living back with his mum, and everything's back to normal. But
Mm.
for quite a few years, My mum was kind of like the carer, the parental.
That's
Yeah, she had
that's a great,
parental rights.
yeah, that's a great story. That is, that's how it should be done. You know,
Yeah,
I know someone, a friend of mine, who basically he spoke to his mum. Again, this is a interesting one, where the mum of the child, his ex-girlfriend, also was a druggie, but they got on really well, and they wanted
yeah,
for their children. And but he said, "Look, I'm going to Dubai for probably about the best part of 4 years of my contract. Will you look after the baby for 4 years?" He ended up staying there for 5 years, and the grandma looked after the baby for 5 years, and now the baby's with the dad, which is
mm,
a perfect situation. Had little intervention from social services because they couldn't argue. Um, because when I first found out about it, I said, okay, all right, we have to be proactive here. Let's
yeah,
state what you're doing, sorry. And social services says basically fine. It sounds like a really positive plan, and it worked. It worked. So it's not all bad out there. Kayla, this is obviously your show, and we are having a mothers' meeting here.
yeah.
And yeah, I'm gonna. I was just, just trying to the you wanted to play some music as well. What music did you want to play your first song?
I have four songs. The first one I've just recently started singing. And it's Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls. There's nothing behind the song or anything. It's such a beautiful song to sing. And I think it can be related to mental health in a way with the lyrics in the song. So yeah, that's going to be my first song that I play.
Okay, here you go.
And I'd give up forever to touch you, 'cause I know that you feel me somehow. You're the closest to heaven that I'll ever be, and I don't wanna go home right now, 'cause all I can taste is this moment, and all I can breathe is your life. So when sooner or later it's over, I just don't wanna miss you tonight. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know I am. And you can't fight the tears that ain't coming, or the moment of truth in your lies. So when everything feels like the movies, yeah, you bleed just to know you're alive. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know I am. Hey! guys to take this one home, all right? And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand. Where everything's meant to be broken, I just want you to know I am. And I just want you to know I am. And I just want you to know I am. Yeah.
Serving chilled tunes all summer long.
Keep it locked right here.
Dreamcatcher Radio.
So that was Irish by Irish.
Carry on.
So that was Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls.
The Kayla. The okay, right. So you did rock the mic. You performed on stage, and you got yourself all dressed up and glammed up, and it was fascinating to see everybody really dressed up. So nice there at Rock the Mic. By the way, we're going to have Rock the Mic 2026 at Watch Your Space. Now, everybody's outfit was very, very different. And one thing I did notice in the where the conversations where everybody was talking about it, outfits. You must have a creative style. Now, how would you best describe your creative style?
Oh, I'm not really a colourful person. Like, I'm not really like a bright coloured person. I like darker coloured clothes. So, like with the dress that I picked for Rock the Mic, it was a dark, like an emerald green colour. I'd say my style is just like casual, but not too much, if you know what I mean. Just very casual leggings, baggy t-shirts, that kind of thing. I like comfort over, you know, dressing a certain style. I like to feel comfortable.
See, this is actually making me laugh in some respects. I clearly cannot go to a mother's meeting. Could you imagine someone asking that question? The so I'm going to give myself a strike for that one. You're a full-time mum, right?
I am, yes.
And you've got health issues, as you said on your first show.
Yeah.
In terms of like, what's your thoughts on, I haven't got an opinion on this. My opinion is more of a scary one, because I think what's going on in society for various reasons, but health.
Yeah.
Many people that don't have a health problem.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know many people that don't have a health problem? That don't.
I actually don't. I think people who I know have got some sort of health, whether it's mental health or chronic illness. I don't really know anybody who doesn't really have anything wrong with them,
Yeah. And
which is crazy.
why do you think that is? Just an interest.
I don't know.
You're only young yourself.
Do you know what it is? I think you see so many people, say for instance, like if people have BPD, bipolar, and I think people kind of tend to be like, oh, well, I kind of have them similar symptoms. Maybe I have that. Or, if say, obviously I have Crohn's disease, which is inflammation of the bowel and the colon. And people are like, oh, the symptoms that I have, oh, I have them symptoms. Maybe I have that. It's all based around, it's like a stigma type of thing. Like people think that they have this and that just because it's a very similar symptoms when really they may not have nothing wrong with them, thinking that they do. A lot of people tend to do that.
You remember, I think it was Charlotte on your last, was it Charlotte you last interviewed?
There was Charlotte, my first one, and Jambler was the second one
Yeah,
that I did.
Charlotte, she said she hates it when basically people try and label something and
Yeah,
also, oh, we've all got these tendencies, and they try and pick them
yeah.
up.
It's the whole thing. It's like, oh, we've all got the tism.
Mm,
That's what they say. We've all got a bit of autism. But we may do, but they say it so it's kind of like ignorant in a way. Because it's just like, oh, we all have a bit of autism in us, and it's like when you deal with someone who has autism,
mm.
then you'll know, you'll know if you have it, type of thing. It's not just being like, oh, because oh, I don't like my food to touch. I probably have autism. It's not, that's not that. You might just be very, very fussy with food, kind of thing. There's a lot more to autism than just, saying, oh, I might have it. No, you will definitely know if you have it, type of thing. It's crazy.
So basically, right, so going backwards slightly, the you don't know anybody that doesn't have some sort of ailment. What I will say, I hardly know anybody that doesn't have
Mm.
ailments of some sort. May it be physical, mental, or other. I really don't. Seriously, I don't. And I know lots of people,
Yeah.
and the yeah, I just don't see it. The Okay, I've got some. Okay, here's a possibly a mum's meeting question. What are we having for dinner tonight, Kayla?
Oh, I'm gonna have. I think I'm gonna have pasta. I think tonight, like a tomato. It's like a tomato and chicken pasta. It's really, really nice. I made homemade. Like when you go to a takeaway shop and you get like the chicken kebab with the pita
Yeah.
and the salad. I made my own chicken kebab. There was only me who ate it because my daughter, she's extremely fussy with food. She's autistic, so she has a very beige diet. Apart from pepperoni pizza, that's the only thing that she'll have that's not beige. So I made a really nice kebab, and it had Cajun seasoning, paprika, it had garlic, everything. I'm telling you, no vampires would come near me after eating that because it was very strong
Mhm.
with garlic. But I do like cooking. Sometimes I am quite lazy sometimes, and I'm like, I can't be bothered to cook. I'll just maybe order something.
You
But
sounded like a scouser, and I do like
do you know,
cooking.
I actually am. I actually am a Scouser.
Are you? I didn't know that.
I actually am, but because I've lived in Wigan now for since I was 8 years old. It's just a slight twang now that I have of a Scouse. My dad's a proper Scouser. He was born in Liverpool, so he's very much born and bred Liverpudlian, as he call it.
The I do find the Scouse accent quite interesting, actually. I want to tell you about something actually, just
Yeah.
coming to my mind, and you're a mum, and I'm a dad, and I've got two older girls now in their early 20s. The I was out yesterday in the local town centre, and there was police everywhere. There's a lot of police, and I was just I had to walk past what was going on, and there was a girl on the floor in the middle, almost the middle of the road, centre reservations, about five police cars there. Traffic was still continuing to flow, and
Hmm.
there was another girl on the pavement being dealt with by police. Um,
Yeah.
and the girl on the pavement, I'm not joking, I've never heard such foul language in such a
It's
long time. And police trying to carefully restrain her because she's going to be arrested. But I worked out that they looked about 14 years old. Now, and there was a lot of police. So one was being very, very vocal. And the language is unbelievable, unbelievable language of how they're
yeah.
talking to a person of authority. Um, and they literally, she must be on something. I'm not too sure, But anyway, it was just vile, vile. And the other one, her head was being pinned to the pavement for some reason. But they both got arrested.
Crazy.
But this is what I'm thinking, right? The As I'm walking by, the I'm walking by well over 150 people, and probably 100 of them, if not plus, have their camera phones out recording it.
Yep.
The In addition to that, it's mainly men at recording and young kids at recording. I mean, just imagine that goes on social media and that sort of stuff. Um, and also, why is everybody standing around watching and almost
Hmm.
glorifying what's going on? And people. There's a pub nearby, and people outside the pub laughing their heads off and shouting all sorts of stuff, whatever it was. And I just felt so disgusted that that's
Yep,
what
that
comes
annoys
to.
me.
And I just
Uh,
think if I was the parent, I just don't, I couldn't have, well, my kids would never do that anyway. I never, I know people say your kids are the best in the world, but that just wouldn't happen for a month of Sundays. Um,
hmm
the but what do you think about that sort of thing? Two things
I
about
have a lot to say about that.
go on then, go
Um,
ahead.
there's personally, I think some parents let their children do what they want, and there's no discipline. And I don't mean physical discipline. I mean there's no discipline, like they don't get things took off them. Like my daughter, she is a teenager, and she would never ever think to disrespect or speak to somebody so disgusting. She's very respectful. Although she doesn't really understand, she has never been disrespectful to anybody. But if she is disrespectful to me, I I do have a form of discipline put in place. So I will take things from her, like her phone, and I will ban her from going on the game for a day. And I'm like, you don't get to act this way and get these luxuries, because it's not acceptable basically at the end of the day. And that's the way that she kind of learns. But some people don't have that discipline put in place, and they let their children get away with murder.
Mm.
And you see that with the kids these days. Some of them are very, like, I seen a video, for instance, and it was on, I think it was on TikTok or Facebook, and there was this little boy, and he would have been about 14, and he was giving abuse to these workers as, I think it was Asda or Tesco,
Okay,
and the
you
things
want
that
about
he,
that one that was on a bike and
yes, and
yes,
the
yeah,
dad,
that basically is saying that he's going to cut the people up and come back later and all this sort of stuff.
yeah, and then the dad the day after made him go
Mm,
and apologize. And I thought that is how it should be.
mm.
That is a fantastic parent right there, who doesn't take no, you
Yeah,
know.
that went massively viral. That did. For the right
Yeah.
for the right reasons as well.
Yeah,
The
it is for the right reasons, because for that child to come out with them words,
mm.
like what are they watching? What are they, what influence have they got in their life to make them act that way?
Yeah, well, clearly his dad doesn't approve of it. That's for sure.
No.
Which is great parenting. The
Yeah.
I was absolutely shocked when I saw that, and and the and I'm not. I'm pretty confident that's probably a criminal offence as well. Anyway, what that kid was doing. But that being said, though, he exposed his child, who was massively red faced, saying he must apologise and
Hmm.
explain that this is not the way we are as a family. And I thought that was a good thing. And I thought, as if you were a PR department, meaning public relations department,
Yeah.
that's the best way to curtail this, to say that this is not us. Um,
Hmm.
this is disgusting. We're outraged. It certainly was egregious, that was for sure. Kayla, just if you want
Yeah,
to continue talking
definitely.
to this afterwards, do you want to do your second song?
Yeah, my second song is With or Without You by U2. Um, like it once again, I don't really have a reason behind this song. These are just songs that I enjoy singing, because the thing is, when I sing, I like to feel the music, like the lyrics, and I tend to sing songs that are more piano. I kind of like make them my own. So Yeah, U2 With or Without You is my second song.
Perfect.
See the stone set in your eyes, see the thorn twist in your side. I'll wait for you. Sleight of hand and twist of fate, on a bed of nails she makes me wait, and I wait without you, with or without you, with or without you. Through the storm we reach the shore. You gave it all, but I want more, and I'm waiting for you, with or without you, with or without you. I can't live with or without you. And you give yourself away, and you give yourself away, and you give, and you give, and you give yourself away. My hands are tied, the body bruised, she got me with nothing to win and nothing left to lose. And you give yourself away, and you give yourself away, and you give, and you give, and you give yourself away, with or without you, with or without you. I can't live with or without you. With or without you, with or without you, I can't live with or without you, with or
The music you love.
Dreamcatcher Radio.
So that was With or Without You by U2.
So, Kayla, as I'm a guest on your show, but I'm the one interviewing you, and being that we're having a mother's meeting. But it appears like that you're actually in the studio when I'm asking you loaded questions. Now,
Yeah.
I've got a couple of questions, right?
Yeah.
The misconceptions, right? What the and I'm gonna strike that question. Um, what's the common misconception in autism?
Um, it's a very, very difficult one because a lot of people have to fight tooth and nail and they get pushed from pillar to post with getting a child diagnosed with autism because it's either, oh, your child's just being naughty, oh, it's behavioural issues, it's a phase, they'll grow out of it, they're just fussy eaters. They'll grow up, but it's not that. It's when your child is autistic. With me, I knew from a very, very young age. My daughter's 14 this year. And we started noticing things at the age of 2 that things just wasn't right and wasn't normal. Like we had to get a hearing test done because we thought she was deaf because she wouldn't look at you or anything. So we would speak to her and she wouldn't acknowledge you. She'd line things up. She'd stim. So with stimming, it can be anything from walking on your tiptoes to spinning, rocking, that kind of thing. It's kind of like it's a sensory thing and it helps to, calm a child down. But it's just that people kind of like, no, it's just behavioural issues. They'll grow out of it. You know, it's a phase and all that kind of stuff. So this is why a lot of people are fighting to get diagnosed because they're just getting pushed with anything. Is where I say, no, you need to keep fighting until you get a diagnosis because you're not going to get anywhere if they say to you, oh, it's just behavioural, go home and just see how it all works out. No, that's not how it works. You have to fight and fight and fight to get a diagnosis. I was quite lucky because my daughter got diagnosed a year after going to a doctor because I had videoed absolutely everything. I'd recorded everything and I showed the doctor and he was like, that's not right. And he referred us straight away to a pediatrician and within the year she was diagnosed with high functioning autism.
That's actually very quick. Well, high function, so yeah, it must be blatant. The
It's it with sorry, with high functioning autism, they have an Asperger's brain. So they are extremely clever, but they lack social skills, so they'll tend to play um with themselves. They'll play alongside children, but they'll not play with them. Um they tend to play on their own and they lack social skills. I think as Lily's gotten older, her social skills has improved massively. That's due to going to a mainstream school. Like they pushed me to put her into a SEND school, and I was like, no, I'm not going to put her in a SEND school because I thought I'm going to see how it works out with mainstream. If it doesn't work out, then I will. But I'm so glad that she went to a mainstream school because she has, she has friends at school that she can talk to. Whereas if she was in a SEND school, it's a lot different. So yeah, it's
yeah, it's
very,
a bit like
yeah,
a competition as well in some respects, isn't it? If you
yeah,
go to SEND school, this is actually quite funny, right? I just thought I'd Google misconceptions of autism, right? I got as far as misconceptions about, then the word autism comes straight up. This is how scary these computers are nowadays. You know,
yeah.
I've never Googled that before, ever. And it comes up straight away. Now, okay, let's just do a rapid fire. Um,
Okay,
your response to each of these misconceptions. These are the most common misconceptions according
okay.
to AI. My days. The autism is a disease.
No.
Anybody ever tell you that? Like
Um,
other people that don't know about autism, did they ever mention that?
they've never said it's a disease as such. Um, they've just said it's just behavior. Oh, sorry. They've just said it's behavioral, literally,
Okay, fine.
They'll grow out of it. It's
I've got
just
quite a few of these, so
yeah.
let's move on.
Yep.
Autism is caused by bad parenting. God, some people are so ignorant.
Then I must be the worst parent in the world. No, absolutely not.
Uh, Autism is caused by vaccines.
No, that is something that I disagree on massively because my my sister, she's anti-vax with her child. Um, she's got two children. The first child, he was vaccinated. The second child, he's not. And she was like, "Oh, I'm not getting my child vaccinated because they cause autism and all this kind of stuff." So she never got him vaccinated at all. And her child has autism. So
Mm.
it's a bit like,
Yeah,
kind of
so
thing.
basically, this is misconceptions that people come out with.
Yeah.
Okay, this one makes me laugh as well, actually. The people with autism lack emotions. They're so emotional. It's not even funny.
I th In a way, I agree with that in a way because I've been through that. So I see where you're coming from because obviously when I sang My Heart Will Go On and Lily was extremely emotional. She doesn't like me singing that song. When she was younger, she lacked empathy. So if I was upset, she would look at me and be like, "What are you crying for? Like, why are you getting upset?" Like she had no emotion. So if I hurt myself, she wouldn't be like, "Oh, mummy, are you okay?" That kind of thing. She'd just stare and just look and be like,
Mm.
"What's going on?" But as she's gotten older and as she's learned about empathy and sympathy and emotions, she shows a lot of emotion now. Maybe too much emotion. She's over dramatic.
Yeah,
So in
it,
a way I can, and that's a hard one. I can agree with that and I can disagree with that,
mm.
if you know what I mean.
Kids and adults that I know with autistic kids, they're very, very observant.
Yeah.
And also, well, I've seen it many times in people I know. They're very reflective of your emotions. So if you start crying, they may just start crying just for the sake of it. Um,
Yeah.
that's what I've witnessed. Anyway, next one.
Yep.
People, this one. Okay, this is actually I can tell you a funny story about this. Because I've got a good friend who is autistic, and anyway, she's actually one of the presenters on Dreamcatcher Radio. The
Oh, okay.
is Andrea, and people with autism have no sense of humor.
Oh, that's totally untrue. My child, she's had people in stitches laughing. She thinks her jokes that she tells people are the most hilarious jokes, and like she told me a joke once, and she went to me, "Mum, knock knock." And I said, "Who's there?" And she went, "Interrupting cow." And I said, Interrupting cow who?" And before I said who, she went, "Moo." And she just thought it was the funniest thing.
Yeah.
She just thought it was the funniest thing ever.
I,
And yeah.
I'll tell you this quick story, then we'll move on to the next one. The is I was walking into the high street with Andrea, and she won't mind me saying this. We was just chatting and that sort of stuff. She walks like she's walking on a scooter. She walks so fast. And anyway, so I was telling her some jokes, yeah, but I didn't
Yeah.
tell her beforehand, and it wasn't a test. I just thought I'll just say something funny, and it was almost like a normal conversation to her, yeah. So the first joke,
Yeah.
I thought, oh, that's a lead balloon. That didn't work, did it? And so I told her another one, which I think is the funniest joke ever. I can't remember what it is. And I said, Andrea, that's a joke, by the way. And she said, oh, was it? I started laughing.
Do you know what? Lily's the same. She doesn't understand that sometimes it's a joke. And she's like, "Oh, was I meant to laugh at that?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's meant to be. It's meant to be a joke."
But the
And
thing is, it
then
made us both
yeah.
laugh afterwards. That I didn't really understand. She didn't realize it was a joke. I just thought I'll ask the question, and
Yeah.
then so I made it into a joke in itself. Okay, next one. Individuals with autism can't form relationships.
I think they can. I think it takes a lot of work.
Mm. What about
Um,
TV program and Undateables? You ever watch that?
I do, yes.
Is it still
I
on?
think actually I don't know. I think there's a new one on Netflix now. to do with disabilities and finding love and stuff like that. And I think it's the sweetest thing ever.
Okay.
The thing,
Mm.
I think, I think they struggle to bond relationships. I think some of them need a lot of and I think some people can be too lovable and think everybody, how do I say this? So like say like they can get attached very, very quickly
Mm.
to
Yeah.
somebody and
Okay.
then
Yeah.
say if that person then goes, they're like, where's that person gone? Why have they gone? Like they get very, very attached very quickly, I find.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching that on David I've not seen it for ages though.
I
The
love watching that.
because I found it quite interesting, to be honest. Um, okay, autism can be cured. Bear in mind, just for people if they're just listening, we're talking about misconceptions. These are common misconceptions about people.
I don't think autism can ever be cured. I think there's coping mechanisms, and I think as a child, say so if a child gets diagnosed at a very young age, I think as they get older, they learn to adjust to, their life and they learn to cope better in situations compared to when they were little, if you know what I mean. So now, as Lily's getting older, she learns to cope a lot more easier with
Yeah.
things compared to when she was little, where she'd have a massive meltdown and, you know, because I don't think it can never be cured. Um, it never be cured, but I think
Well, the
it's
answer
about
is there
coping.
is no cure for autism.
There
Um,
is no cure.
no, there is no
No.
cure. No. Okay, all autistic people have special abilities. Can I just put in something here, right? Most, if if not almost all autistic people I know, um, have
Oh, two
amazing.
seconds, Brad, is my child's shot. Yes, Lily.
You carry on. So just mute your mic out. That'd be easier. The
Oh, sorry, Anne.
Yeah. Whilst I'll carry on talking. While I find them they have a unique skills in certain areas to an exceptional level. Especially when you give them a task and say, "Come back to me a week later," or something like that, or "What's your thoughts and feelings of this?" They will pause and try and think of an answer, but then they will say to me, "Can I come back to you later? It's a very important subject, and I'd like to give you a proper answer." Very detailed people, I find. I'm not too sure if Kayla's still there. So I'll carry on. These are misconceptions. Everyone is a little bit autistic. That was uh, an issue for Charlotte on Michaela's show last time. Um, I suppose it probably could be. However, the it's a misconception. You're either autistic or you're not. Autistic people don't make eye contact. Um, Certain autistic people actually do look to the floor. However, but it's not all the time. Autistic people can't talk. Can't believe that's a misconception. The So because most I don't know any autistic people myself that don't talk. They choose not to sometimes. They can shout a lot as well. Autistic people can outgrow autism. Um, Not too sure about that one. I can't see how that would work because there is no cure, is there? I think there's just coping mechanisms, best of my knowledge. The What's the next one? Autistic people don't have feelings and can't show affection. Again, I don't believe in that. So it's you ask anybody that knows autistic people, that's not the case. Autistic people are all the same. Jeez. Oh my God. Some people, how can that ever be a misconception? Autistic people are all savants. What does that mean? Savants? I've never even heard that. While some autistic individuals may have exceptional skills, the vast majority don't have savant skills. Never heard that word before. On that note, let's play Michaela's next song while she's dealing with her daughter.
Let me be your hero. Would you dance if I asked you to dance? Or would you run and never look back? Would you cry if you saw me crying? And would you save my soul tonight? Would you tremble if I touched your lips? Or would you laugh? Oh, please tell me this. Now would you die for the one you love? Hold me in your arms tonight. I can be your hero, baby. I can kiss away the pain. I will stand by you forever. You can take my breath away. Would you swear that you'll always be mine? Or would you lie? Would you run and hide? Am I in too deep? Have I lost my mind? I don't care, you're here tonight. I can be your hero, baby. I can kiss away the pain. I will stand by you forever. You can take my breath away. Wanna hold you, oh yeah. Am I in too deep? Have I lost my mind? Well, I don't care, you're here tonight. I can be your hero, baby. I can kiss away the pain, oh yeah. I will stand by you forever. You can take my breath away. And I can be your hero. I can kiss away the pain. And I will stand by you forever.
Great news! You can now listen to Dreamcatcher Radio on your Alexa or your smart speaker. It's very simple. All you've got to do is say, Alexa, enable Dreamcatcher Radio skill, and she'll start playing your favourite radio station, Dreamcatcher Radio. Coming soon, the mobile app for Android and iOS. Keep it locked in wherever you go to Dreamcatcher Radio.
This is
Dreamcatcher Radio.
So that was Hero by Enrique Iglesias. I can't pronounce his name.
I'm
But
not,
that
not even going to try myself either.
no.
Weekend
But
Iglesias,
I
is
used
it?
to have a massive crush on him when I was little, and that was like my favorite song. So I recently started singing it, and there's a guy on TikTok called Coles, and he's like, "Yeah, you have to sing that song all the time. It's amazing." So I think I've got a bit of a fan with that song.
Okay, cool. This is definitely a question that I overhear all the time. When I'm like people watching men. So we're supposed to be having a mothers meeting, by the way. The is people, women moaning about men and dating. What are men in dating like for you, Kayla? Where you're single and that sort of stuff. Come on, give us the dirty details.
I don't have the best experience with men, to be honest. By the way, people, if you're tuning in, make sure you're getting your coffee and your tea because we're having a mothers meeting, and yeah, get your biscuits, your tea, your coffee, whatever you drink, and just tune in. Um, I think the men that I attract are just a red flag, as you'd say. They only care about one thing and one thing only, which is what's in between your legs. And yeah, I mean, there's some nice men out there, but I've never had an experience with them. Um,
Do you
I think, yeah.
do you have you tried online dating? Does that work or whatever?
I I have a story about that actually.
Come on, do share.
I
This is
now there's
a lunchtime show though, Kayla. Yeah. So
well, yeah, I've got to word it a bit.
yeah, go on.
So there's things that some people have which are kinks. They like certain things, and some can be quite out there and unusual. And I remember I got a bit bored once, and I was on Facebook, and there was like this thing saying try Facebook dating. So I thought, okay, I'll sign up. I'm single, I'll see what all of the fuss is about. And it's a bit like Tinder, so you put your interests and then you match up with somebody and then they can, you know, request to message you and stuff. So I re matched with this guy and we had very similar interests and he forgot to add one of his other interests, which
What the
he
kink?
like yeah, he was into one of them was ABF, which
ABF?
is adult milky feeding, if you know what I mean.
What,
Like what when
oh yeah,
babies,
yeah. I've just picked up. So but breastfeeding.
adult breastfeeding, yeah, ABF. And that this guy was into being an
Oh my
adult
days.
baby.
Oh, and
That he,
where nappy and everything.
yeah,
Oh
but he
my.
didn't tell me that
I suppose
until
you probably wouldn't do, would you?
he didn't put that on his interest.
How
He
did
just
you? How
told me
did you
that, and I
find
didn't know
out?
what to do. I didn't know what to do because he was like, "Oh, I do have to include that I like to wear nappies," and I was like, I didn't think of it as something weird. I thought, oh, maybe he has like an incontinence issue or something. No,
But it was a sexual thing.
and I'm like, I mean,
How do
you're not
you
gonna be
how
into
do,
everything.
how do you breastfeed then?
I don't know. Everybody can do it, even if you're not.
But well, women can't produce milk all the time, though, can they?
Yeah, anybody can.
Really?
It's called, oh, I forgot what it's called. Begins with a C. But yeah,
Apparently, breast milk tastes disgusting.
I've never tried it.
No, no, I. It's not been on my radar to be honest. So how did that? So
So I didn't pursue anything else with this guy. I kind of like I thought, oh God, I need to delete it. I can't deal with that because
Hmm.
something's not people are gonna not be into everything. That's not for me. No disrespect for anybody who has kinks, but that's not for me. So
There's probably a website
I
for that, you know. He should be on that website.
yeah, there is websites for that. But the other funny thing is, before I deleted it, I got another request that somebody else had matched up with me.
Yeah.
And I recognized the name and the picture, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And it was my sister's ex-husband.
Your sister's ex-husband. Jeez.
had matched up with me to chat to me.
Did he know it was you?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's a crazy thing. And I was like,
that's probably
if
most
so if my
mainstream.
sis if my sister's tuning into this, then she's gonna find
Did
out.
you ever tell her?
No, I've never told her because I'm like, I can't tell her, but let's hope she doesn't tune in to this radio show. But I've you can get very strange people. Even on TikTok, you've got these men messaging women claiming to be sugar daddies, and it's a
Yeah,
whole scam.
yeah.
And
The on TikTok
yeah, it's
specifically,
crazy.
specifically, I've three women since I've been on TikTok. Three of them, outside of the other people that contact you, I get loads of messages which are obviously like completely fake. The but I had three women since I've been on TikTok um who turned into a bit stalkerish, and
Yeah,
I wasn't even looking for anybody. The and It's very strange, but I think because when you're talking to people on TikTok, you're talking to them as if I know, you're just being polite and that sort of thing, or
yeah,
being friendly, but they take it a bit too far.
they
You
do.
must get it even worse. You're a good-looking lady. You must get it like really bad. And you're always on TikTok as well.
I do get it a lot with men. They can get very needy
Yeah.
and almost kind of stalkerish. There's a there's a guy on TikTok who has been quite needy with me, and I'm like, I've reassured him like I just want to be friends, and it kind of makes you feel a little uncomfortable. I don't think they realize that how uncomfortable they can make women feel
Mm.
with what they say, and I just I just don't entertain it. I'm like, nope.
Yeah, I don't understand, right? Is that how if you're on a if if you're going on like a date, so for example, you have to be very cordial and that sort of stuff, right? Because you want to make a good first impression and be nice. But
Hmm.
what I understand from many females on TikTok is the people there will automatically jump into a mode of sending inappropriate pictures and
Yeah.
and think that's something that you want. I can't. I don't know any of my friends, female friends, that would want that, and don't like it. They find it funny, but then that just gets that person blocked. I mean, how can
Yeah.
know how to communicate, and they wonder why they're not getting on dates and stuff like that.
Do you know what? I think that's like even with the inappropriate pictures, like men do it as well to women. Like I've had it with
That's
men
what I'm on
doing
about.
it to
That's what I'm on about.
me,
I'm
and
about men to women. Yeah.
I'm like when I say hello, I don't want to like go back to a message of a picture of your thing. But I always like I say like I have a friend who works for the police, and they delete it so quick. It's quite funny actually because I'm like,
That's a good idea. That is actually.
yeah, I'm like, you do realize I do have a friend who works for the police, and I did not want to see that, and they remove it so quick, and I'm like, yeah, just keep it at that. Like, no, I don't want to wake up first thing in the morning and see that. Like,
Mm.
no, like,
I was speaking to a woman yesterday, and she's a friend. And she's dating this guy, and he wanted to see her, and she said, "No, no, no, I'm too tired." And the she puts her phone on silent at night time,
yeah.
and she woke up to 27 missed calls and 142 text messages.
Oh my God,
Just dating.
that's
And
crazy.
that's scary as hell. That's really bad. That's called love. They call it love bombing, don't they? But
Yeah,
that's for me. That's a massive no.
I
The
I had a guy off TikTok
mm,
who had messaged he came in my life. Now, this is quite funny because I got mixed up with veteran Andy because um this one guy, he was called Andy and his name was Andy Pandy. and he'd come in my live, and we got chatting, and I added him on another social media app, and he had ADHD, but he was so disgusting and rude. He kept calling me fatty,
What was he doing that?
like mock. He was just horrible, and he was mocking me, and he was like, "Oh, what's up, fatty?" and all this kind of stuff, and like, because I'd sent him a picture of me, and when I went to a wedding, I had like a burgundy dress on. He was like, "Oh, that looks like something that I put on my table, that I put my dinner on and stuff." And he was just so rude, and he was called Andy Pandy on TikTok. So then when we got with the whole rock the mic, and I got to know veteran Andy, his name on TikTok is Andy Pandy. And I was like, I thought that was him that came, and I was like, oh my God, that's him. So I said to my moderators, if you see this Andy Pandy come in, get him blocked. But luckily, he didn't get blocked, thank God, because it was veteran Andy.
Oh,
But I thought, oh my God, is it that guy? Like, but you get some men who are just so rude, and
the
yeah, it's just no
yeah,
need for it.
no, I mean it's a very, very strange world out there. So basically, it is true that dating is very, very difficult. But there's
This
someone out
day and age it is.
yes, there's someone out there for everybody, I believe. Um,
There is.
you gotta do a lot of muck breaking, I think. The
Unfortunately,
let's talk about
you've got to kiss a few to frogs before you find your prince, as they'd say.
yeah, tigers maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
There is yeah, yeah. Anyway, the let's talk about music, your passion for music, because I know it means a lot to you.
Yeah. So I started singing at a very young age. I'd say I was about 9 years old, maybe. Yeah, I was about nine, and I started singing on karaoke. And when we went on holiday, I'd sing at the karaoke bars abroad and stuff. And I don't know, like I just got the love for it and the passion, because I was going through a lot of personal stuff at home as a child, and there's a lot of trauma around that kind of thing. So I think singing was one of them things that helped me cope, and because I was being bullied at school as well around the same time. And yes, I think music just spoke to me. And then I auditioned for the X Factor a few times, and Britain's Got Talent. Didn't get through to any of them, but I never give up or anything. I've had no vocal training, no singing lessons, just self-taught, I guess. But I love singing. And now with TikTok, it's just there's so many lives you can go in, and boxes, and there's so much talent. Like I sang in a live today with a woman. She does sign language for autism and stuff, and she's got quite a big following. And I just went in a live and asked her if I could sing in her live whilst she and a few other people did their sign, and she followed me. And then I have multiple people following me now, so it does get you out there. And I just love singing for people. And obviously I did rock the mic, which I'm so grateful. That was such an amazing evening, and we raised so much money. Everybody came together that night and made it so special. And I think it brought a lot of people's confidence. It brought my confidence out massively after that. So you and obviously Sam, Dion, and Kez, you all to take your hats off, because you all did an amazing event, and you made it happen. It wouldn't happen if it wasn't for you guys. I think you did a lot, Bradders. You did the most. You was constantly
Yeah, I mean
on it.
it was tough. It was tough. And being a first big event like that, you're learning on your foot kind of thing. But basically the from what I understand from your position is that because you're obviously a single mum and that sort of thing. And as we started off with, you've got opinions and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
you're well, my best reasoning, I guess. But we're all normal people, but we all got difficulties, and it's good to talk. Now
Yeah.
today's just been about just having a chat, as if it was just, but it's turned into something different because there's no plan preset for this, and it's just us having a conversation, and we wanted to just. I said to Kayla, what we should do is just have a chat. So this would be like possibly um, a, a call and that sort of thing. When you're just thinking, I just want to talk. I just want to talk. I don't want
That's
to, you know. So
that's what I want to make it about as well. So it's not just like speaking to people on one topic. Like I like to sit down and have a chat and, just treat it as kind of like a podcast because that's what you would do on a podcast. You'd sit there and you'd just talk about topics and you just,
mm,
that's what I want it to like every now and again. Just have a catch up, chat about like the quick fire questions that you did regarding autism and stuff like that.
mm.
It's quite good because that is people could be tuning in and they could, if they want to get the child diagnosed, if they think the child's got autism, them questions are quite good, like
Mm.
about the whole vaccination thing, and yeah, I think it's quite good to do something like this.
So you want to introduce your final song, Kayla?
Yeah, my final song is Wildflower by Billie Eilish. Now, I picked this song because I've recently started singing her music. She has quite a soft, kind of gentle voice, and that's something that I don't do. So I kind of went out my comfort zone, and I'm actually enjoying singing her songs. So, and Wildflower, it's such a beautiful song. So, yeah, this is Wildflower by Billie Eilish.
Things fall apart and time breaks your heart. I wasn't there, but I know she was your girl. You showed her the world, but fell out of love and you both let go. She was crying on my shoulder. All I could do was hold her. Only made us closer until July. Now I know that you love me. You don't need to remind me. I should put it all behind me, shouldn't I? But I see her in the back of my mind all the time, like a fever, like I'm burning alive, like a sign that I crossed the line. knows you so well, but every time you touch me, I just wonder how she felt. Valentine's Day, crying in the hotel. I know you didn't mean to hurt me, so I kept it to myself. You say no one knows you so well, but every time you touch me, I just wonder how she felt. Valentine's Day, crying in the cold still. I know you didn't mean to hurt me, so I kept it to myself.
So thank you guys for tuning in. I will be back next week between 2 and 3 p.m. But in the meantime, you can follow me on TikTok and watch my singing videos and see me live. It's Kayla35x1. See ya.
Dreamcatcher Radio.
Dreamcatcher Radio is about capturing and creating dreams through music, chat, and debate. Empowering expression, enriching society. A go-to place for unsigned musical talent. A radio station which listens to its audience. Free speech, vibrant, engaging. Stream worldwide 24/7. Events, competitions, promotions. Always keen to have a listening ear. Contact us. hello@dreamcatcherradio.com.
Dreamcatcher Radio.